Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Drake, and today we're going to be talking about women raising men. I just got off the phone with one of my friends, and he was raised in similar, not the same conditions to what I had coming up. I was raised by a single mother who did her best, right? I always feel like I have to say that because people are like, they feel like you're just putting somebody down if you don't say that, right? And I'm not putting anyone down, but I want to make the case for having the most ideal situation when you are raising a child, right? And I don't know why that needs justification in today's age. It's almost as if you're saying, someone else is bad if they don't do this. I understand that there are circumstances where it's not always possible, and that is unfortunate. And part of why I make these videos is to prevent that from happening, right? And so, just to get right into it, I was raised by a single mother, and that is not the best situation for any child, to be raised by just one parent, obviously, right? If both parents can be there, both biological parents can be there to support that child, that is the best situation, right? And if that parent is not capable of being stable for a child, they shouldn't be having children in the first place. I'm putting all these disclaimers for all the people that say, well, what about the parents that are drug addicts and all this? Obviously, they should not be having children, obviously, right? But best case scenario would be the parent, both parents, because one parent donates the sperm, the other parent donates the egg, right? And that will create a living human being. Both parents should be involved in that child's life to support them, because some of the genetics that they're going to get, some of the predispositions, some of the personality traits are going to come from the father. The other personality traits and genetics are going to come from the mother. And so it would make sense that the people who are most familiar with those genetic traits, those personalities, the programs that are running, that they're there to support that child through that, right? And help that child walk through those things. Now, that said, I was raised by a single mother who had this idea, which I've heard from many single mothers, that she would be the mother and the father, that she is the mother and the father, because obviously my father was not in the picture, right? And so I just want to say this, for any single mother or any mothers who have this idea that they're both the mother and the father, you're not. I got to put it bluntly like that, because I'm not saying that you don't love your child. I'm not saying that you're not doing everything that you can do for your child, but you cannot possibly be both a mother and a father at the exact same time. Because if you're a woman, your idea of what a father is it's an idea. That's exactly what it is. It's an image in your mind. It's the same way that people say, like, oh, all these ideas that we have about male and female roles and what a man is supposed to do, what a woman is supposed to do, that's all constructed by society, and you've just been impulsed with that. Well, in the same way, a woman is impulsed with an idea of what a man or a father should be, and they're acting out this idea, but it's not actually coming from a lived knowingness, right? And so what generally happens is a mother will try to be more masculine or exhibit more masculine traits for like a young boy in order to support the young boy to be more masculine. But it actually has, in many cases, the opposite effect. It actually serves to emasculate that young boy. If you're telling that boy to man up or be a man, I'll tell you from my own experience, the thoughts that would run through a young child's mind, a young boy's mind, would be, am I not man enough? What does it mean to be a man? Like, what do you mean be tougher? Oh, am I not tough? I'm not tough enough. And it could actually have the opposite effect of creating a more feminine personality, meaning a boy who's looking for love, a boy who's looking to be accepted, not to be manned up and toughened up and told that he's not tough enough, but someone who just wants to be nurtured and accepted, right? And I started this video by saying, we're talking about women raising men, right? Or raising boys. And what I found is the support that I get from my wife is phenomenal. As in, it's the support that I wish I could have had as a child, but due to the circumstances, was just not possible. It just wasn't possible, right? And that is the real support that every boy wants. And the only way that's possible is if you have the dynamic of a man and a woman in the relationship. Meaning there's a man there to be stable when the woman is more nurturing, right? And more like, a woman should be able to be very nurturing for a child and very flexible for a child. But if the woman has to be rigid and stern and inflexible, then where does that child go to get love? Where does that child go to feel heard and understood, right? And I'm not saying that both parents can't play this role, but if one parent has to play both roles, it can be very confusing for that child. It can feel very scary not knowing what side of the parent are you going to get at this moment, right? And then who does that child have to turn to if you're faced with this fear of, I don't know who to expect today or at this moment. I don't know if I'm going to get someone who's nurturing and understanding and is going to hear me and support me in that way, or if I'm going to get someone who's stern and cold almost, and seemingly just here to give me the discipline, essentially. And I mean, as a child, that's not what you want. As a child, you want to, at all times, feel like you have someone to lean on, have someone who you can turn to and just feel loved, right? And it's cool because they say that boys need to be raised up into men, right? And I can definitely see that when it comes to my relationship with my wife, because as a guy, you've seen like these memes of guys will say like, oh, you'll see an apartment and it'll have like a lawn chair and a laptop, and people will be like, how can guys live like this, right? But as a guy, it's so easy to live very Spartan, to live on just the bare necessities. But women generally don't want to live like that. And so before, I was living in an apartment that was really bare and didn't have much things in it, and I was getting by. I was comfortable, but as soon as my wife moved in with me, she was just like, okay, we need to really spruce this place up. And we started getting plans. We started making things look nice, and then eventually we had to move out of that place entirely and move into a much bigger, more beautiful place, which I actually do enjoy more, right? But that required that I had to push myself more in order to be able to afford this place and really stop participating in everything that I was allowing to just sort of hold me back. But I was okay with, I was comfortable with, because I had enough, right? And so what I mean to say by that is this: boys need responsibility. Boys need responsibility. And they're supported with that by creating things for those that they love, right? But if you're always hard on a boy, then it's not going to create the circumstances or the desire within that child, within that boy, to want to create. It's instead going to stifle him and make him want to close off and be more reserved, right? And so there's a really great opportunity when a boy gets married to then take on way more responsibility, obviously, right? But going back to the point with mothers and fathers raising up a child, the ideal situation would be, if you are a single mother, to find somebody who you connect with, who would be a good father for your child, right? If you can't make it work with, obviously, the biological father of the child, right? Then find somebody who would be a good father for the child, who is going to work with you, right? Who's going to be your teammate, essentially. That would be the ideal scenario. But, and this is going to be perhaps controversial, if you can't make it work out with any guy, you also cannot be the guy, because that means that you're not working with reality. You're not working with the reality of what men are. And, perhaps there aren't as great of men as you would like in your current environment. And you may have to go into a different environment to find the right man, right? But I'll tell you this, we have a community right now where there are tons of singles who are connecting with each other and getting into relationships, getting married, having kids, and really pushing each other and challenging each other and supporting each other to grow and be the very best that they can be. And so if that resonates with you and you're looking for that and you haven't found it in your environment, send me a message, right? And just say relationship, right? You're looking for a relationship, or you just want to be connected with the community. That's fine, right? But I'm sharing all of this because if it's not working out for you with men, and same thing with men who might be listening to this, if it's not working out with you and women, and you're trying to raise a child, well, how are you supposed to support that child to effectively communicate with the opposite sex? How are you supposed to support that child to be effective in understanding others? Or are you just going to pass down to them the same programs that you have? And then what's going to happen? They're going to live the same life or situations, really, that you had. And if you don't like those situations, if you agree that that's not ideal, then you can't do that to your kid. You have to do something different. It's your duty, your responsibility to do something different for them. And if you'd like to do something different, I encourage you to send me a message so we can make that happen. Also, if you don't follow me on Facebook, I would highly recommend that you follow me on Facebook. I give a ton of value on Facebook, and I'm about to give 10 times more, right? And so if you have kids, you want to have kids, you have a relationship, you want to have a relationship, you are building a business, want to build a business, any of that, follow me on Facebook, because I'm sharing so much. A lot of it is geared around children and relationships, but there's a little bit of everything in there for you too. So definitely give me a follow on Facebook so you can learn a lot. I read a lot of books. This is just like a small sampling of the books that I have. But I read a lot of books, and I am starting to share a lot of that knowledge now. And people have found it already very valuable for them, and we're only scratching the surface, right? So I look forward to seeing you on Facebook, look forward to seeing you in the community. And hey, also part of that community, just before I go, part of that community, we're having an event in June 2nd through June 4th. It's going to be an amazing event where you can meet people live in person And it's not just this, oh, I met somebody online and they seemed cool, but you never get around to meeting them in person. A ton of us are going to meet in person live June 2nd through June 4th in San Diego. And we're going to be talking about things like this, relationships, money, and how to really have the best of that and bring that back home and create a community where you can share that with other people, and other people can really have their best relationships, their best days in business, their best life, really. And that's what we're sharing at this event. And so bringing that up because it's another opportunity for you to meet other like-minded people. And maybe you make a connection. If you're single, maybe you make a relationship connection. If you're looking for business or how to do business, maybe you make a business partnership while you're there. But how is that going to happen if you're around the same people all the time, doing the same things? Where's the change going to come from, right? So I'm encouraging you to reach out, get plugged into our community, and potentially come meet us in San Diego. All right, see you guys on the next one.